It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the Dixieline Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, the venerable John Riley, and we welcome you coming off this great sports weekend. This podcast is brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you. They are the kings of the lumber company, working with all the contractors in Southern California. John Riley, what a great sports weekend. We got the college football weekend. We've got what happened on NFL Sunday, first day of the winter baseball meetings. We just might be here from now till Wednesday covering all the topics on the table.
I know. It's unbelievable. I want to hear a lot more about these baseball winter meetings.
Yeah, there's an awful lot here. Just a program note. Because we decided to do this podcast 3 years ago, we decided we were going to do sports talk the way it should be done. We put a lot of topics on the table. We express opinions on those topics. And then it's your turn to dive into the Fans Forum chat box and give us your answers, questions, statements, cheap shots. It's called Fans Forum. John, for the people on live stream who have never participated, how does Fans Forum work?
Yeah, so Fans Forum is your chance to get involved in the show. If you have a comment in the world of sports for Hacksaw, just drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum at the conclusion of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Okay, we're going to go a lot of different directions, and we're going to move fast because we are baseball-centric on this podcast. We are starting with what's going on in Orlando, Florida. Today, day one, winter baseball meetings. Take it, you're batting leadoff.
Let the deals begin. Padres, Dodgers, Angels.
Okay, let's go through the notebook of the teams that we cover extensively here in Southern California. We are waiting for the Padres to do something. Do something to find starting pitching. And I don't like what I heard early this morning, that the Padres are taking trade offers on the ace, their only established starting pitcher who's healthy, Nick Pivetta. This is stunning. We, of course, reported at the end of last week they were taking offers on second baseman Jake Cronenworth, as well as the young catcher Luis Campusano. The rationale is Pivetta's coming off a career best season, a.k.a. 2.87 ERA. Pivetta's due $19 million this next year, $13 million on the third year of the contract, but he can opt out after this coming season. And knowing what the whole world knows about pitchers and agents, everybody takes their pitchers to free agency as soon as they can. So the Padres must be getting messaging, John, that Pivetta is going to opt out. I'd hate to think of that. If you're trading Pivetta, are you going to get a younger, more controllable pitcher, but are you going to get an ace of your staff? Because right now, there is no Yu Darvish. And right now, there's a huge question mark as to who is Joe Musgrove. And right now, there is no Michael King. And the rest of that potential rotation looks very shaky to me. I'd hate to think you're going to let this guy go. Now, you'd get something back in return, I understand it. But would you get an ace? You might get somebody controllable, but would you get an ace? So, Padre fans, are you in favor of this conversation that A.J. Preller is having? Because he talks to everybody in every hallway there in Orlando, including teams that he's trying to conduct trade talks with. I've been told from the people that I got planted in Orlando, they're talking to Miami about Ryan Weathers. They have talked to Miami about Alcantara. They've talked to Miami about Edward Cabrera. But the problem is the Padres don't have a lot to trade aside from Cronenworth and Campusano, and I don't know that they can get any of those pitchers just in a straight-up swap for one of those guys. They've had dialogue with Washington. That occurred at the general managers' meetings and again last week. But they need a third team to become a player in this to throw other assets into a three-way deal. The Padres, to me, just don't have enough to make a trade. And in terms of free agency, Merrill Kelly is out there. That's interesting to them as maybe a third or fourth starter in the rotation. They have talked to the Mets about Kodai Senga, but he's got a no-trade clause in his contract, but he is really affordable. I was told there had been conversation with Zach Gallen, but I can't put any of that into reality because Gallen has now become very marketable to a whole bunch of teams that need pitching, and I don't know how big the checking account is that the Padres have to spend if they're going to make a deal. They continue to bring in minor league pitchers. Now, with apologies in advance, don't get excited about Ty Adcock. Who? That's a guy they signed on Friday. Ex-Seattle, ex-Cub, ex-Met. He was with 3 teams last year. They signed him. Today they just signed Dason Acosta. Now, this kid pitched pretty well in the minor leagues as a reliever. But how good is he? Washington let him go, and Washington's got no pitching beyond Mackenzie Gore. So that's kind of suspect, too. So that's where the Padres are at this point in time. You're shocked by this Pivetta storyline that kind of broke at 7 o'clock this morning. Where do you think this goes? Are you rubber stamping it? Just trust AJ to do what he's going to do? Or you say, wait a minute, we need to put the brakes on all this. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, when I heard the news, you're like, what? What are you doing? I mean, you can't be trading him. But, I don't blame Preller for listening to offers on anybody, And who knows? This might be like a red herring that he kind of leaks out to the media to get everyone like us focused on Nick Pivetta while he's trying to do a sneaky deal somewhere else. I'd imagine there's a little bit of that kind of bluffing that goes on.
I don't think he's leaking it. I think it's coming from other general managers that can't believe what I heard in the hallway or what I saw in the hallway or what I was told in the hallway because I was talking to him in the hallway.
It's like we're back in high school, Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it might. If you were able to get 1 for 2, 1 for 3, there might be certain scenarios you might entertain it, but I can't imagine anything making sense because you'd probably get maybe a number 4 and then a minor leaguer, and that doesn't really make you better for 2026.
I concur with you wholeheartedly. So that's the latest on the Padre front. Would you dabble at all on any of these guys in Miami? I mean, Weathers was here. Weathers was young. He was force spread way too early. Weathers became a good pitcher, but he's had injury problems in Miami. Alcantara had a major injury. It took him a year and a half to get back. But his last 8 or 10 starts in Miami, that was the vintage Sandy Alcantara that we saw years ago. Cabrera's had physical problems. He's a dynamic guy, but you're not going to get those guys for Cronenworth. And Miami's not going to take on Pivetta's contract because anybody who trades for Pivetta's got to deal with the same rationale. He's here 1 year and he's out the door.
Well, you're talking about injury history with Weathers. I mean, that's fair criticism, but every pitcher has injury problems. I mean, even Pivetta has injury problems, and we all know about Musgrove and Darvish, and and Michael King had injury problems. So I don't know. I think it's intriguing if you can work a deal with Florida because it's Miami now, right? It's not Florida. If you can work a deal with them, then yeah, why not explore it? But I don't see I'm always doubtful of a boomerang effect of a player being dealt and then coming back like Ryan Weathers. My hunch is they won't do that, but the Alcantara thing is like right up AJ's sleeve. That's a common thing for him to go for that flashy name from long ago.
What about Mackenzie Gore, Washington package third team?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. It sounds like what they need. But again, it's the boomerang thing that I don't typically – it's fun to talk about, but I don't think it's going to happen in real life.
Okay. This is so much fun for those of us that cover baseball in depth. So much fun for the fans. Hot Stove League is lit. Okay, so we go from Padres. Let's go to Dodger baseball. I don't know if Andrew Friedman has changed his philosophy. I mean, they're printing dollar bills in the hallway at Dodger Stadium.
What goes on in hallways?
$383 million payroll last season. But they seem to be backing away from mega free agents all of a sudden since the general manager's meetings in November. They, I was told, have offered Robert Suarez 2 years plus an option. Suarez has got 40 saves last year. Suarez 88 saves in 3+ years. Only thing working against Robert Suarez, he is age 35. So I understand the Dodgers going for a shorter contract. But within the hour, a story just reported from Orlando, and the people that I got walking those hallways, is that Toronto has offered Suarez a contract. And Toronto's on a massive spending spree after getting Cease Now they're talking about another closer and going after Robert Suarez. Does not appear that there's any conversation with Kyle Tucker. Evidently, they've cooled on Bo Bichette because Bichette's defensive metrics at shortstop aren't real good. Now, at second base, they're pretty decent. But how does that solve the Mookie Betts situation? Because the whole theory initially was Bichette to short. Mookie goes from short, where he worked really hard to be good, back to the outfield to solve that problem. They're also shopping Teoscar Hernandez. So the Dodgers, I don't know if they've changed their philosophy, but right now the rumor mill in the hallway is a lot different right now than it was before the GM meetings opened in November. And John Riley says,
yeah, it's interesting because you figure they already have all the marquee names. So do they need another marquee name when they're already back-to-back champs? They're going to be favored to win it, in a three-peat this coming year. So, yeah, I mean, did I get that right? No, they didn't win two in a row, did they? It was two in a row. Okay, I started second-guessing myself. Yeah, so I think they're well-positioned for a three-peat. They don't have to sign Kyle Tucker. They could just sort of fill in with their in-house young guys.
Or trade for Stephen Kwan.
They could do that as well. I mean, what's your buy-off on the thing that Mookie Betts' batting declined when he was playing shortstop? Do you think there's a linkage between those two?
No, because he finished strong, hit okay postseason. And remember, he was sick as a dog for the first third of the year. He was really sick with that intestinal virus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So the common line of conversation right now, Dodger age, that everyday lineup's got a lot of plus 30 guys, actually a lot of guys plus 35. So they need to get an influx of younger everyday players to complement Mookie and to complement Freddie Freeman. And even Will Smith is going to be 31. So I think they need to keep that.
Well, Teoscar's up there.
Yeah. They're trying to move him to an American League team where he can DH.
Yeah. And then so Ohtani is over 30, right?
31.
31.
But that's a superstar 31.
Well, no question. I mean, yeah. I mean, but you're right. They are a little long in the tooth. I guess sometimes we don't really realize it because all their stars, even though they're getting older, they still look like young pups.
The one thing they're not aged is what's in the farm system. My God, they got so many guys, stockpiled draft picks, pitchers, and they got 3 outfielders at AA now that seem to be red-hot minor league prospects. So that's all things Dodger baseball. Let's talk about the Angels. They have made an offer, I think it's far-fetched, made an offer to Zach Gallen.
Nice.
The Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, he had a lousy first half of last season. He really roared back second half, pitched well. I don't understand why Arizona is not trying to re-sign him, except that they're probably asking 4 to 5 years or 4 years plus an option. But they've made a pitch on him after already getting Grayson Rodriguez and getting Alek Manoah. But Zach Gallen, I was told, has maybe 5 different offers out there from a lot of people. It looks like he's going to exit. A change in the Anthony Rendon story. I don't know if he's trying to come back and play next season. He's doing all the rehab, but he's been away from the club. Or they just want him out of there. I was told, though, they're not trying to buy out the contract. They changed the conversation to Anthony, retire. We'll defer the $38 million out. Give us this budget space that we can use now to make this a better team. You're headed to retirement with this catastrophic hip injury on top of everything else. Take a deferral so we can use a chunk of this $38 million to go get more players for today's Angels team. Because this has been 6 years of injuries with him. You know, I had the stat, I think he played 250 games and missed 718 games or some unbelievably lopsided number. It might be the all-time worst modern-day free agent contract, in addition to the drug-infested contract they gave Josh Hamilton way back.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for the Angels.
Yeah, so that's where the Angels are right now. But I don't know that they can get Zach Gallen at this state because all of a sudden a lot more people paying attention or may have made offers already to Zach Gallen. But if they get him, that gives them suddenly a much deeper rotation they've not had in a group of years.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Gallen always reminds me of Greg Maddux.
Yes.
You know, just the way he looks, the way he he's a pitcher,
But he's got a fierce fastball.
Yeah.
Maddox was crafty.
Yeah, but I'm saying Gallen has a lot of that craftiness in him, and he's like very advanced with his baseball IQ. I just really like watching him. So wherever he lands, they're going to get a good guy. But that's the perfect kind of a pitcher for the Angels to add. And as far as Rendon's concerned, if he were to, let's say, retire early and get paid on a deferral, well, what's in it for him? I mean,
He's going to get his money regardless.
Yeah, but the contract says he's supposed to get it all he's supposed to get his final year in the final year.
This is a stupid thing to say to a capitalist, an imperialist.
Well, it's just, that's what the contract says, right? So,
but they gave you all this money. They never got any fair value out of the contract. Give them something unique and different to pay him back to fix the franchise. You're still going to get your 38 down road.
Yeah, but I know. I mean, he doesn't have to. I mean, maybe the one thing that might be in it for him is he could just take the year off, and not have to play at all. But if I'm the Angels or if I'm an Angel fan, I just write him off. It's sunk cost. Jettison the dude. I mean, if he'll retire a year early and take a deferral, great. Yep. But I don't know if you can expect him to say yes to that.
No, because he has not shown any increments to be a team guy more recently. So, Padre fan, Dodger fan, Angel fan. Your fans forum chat box is open. Jump on board. We just try to give you everything we had as of high noon today from the opening hours of the winter baseball meetings in Orlando. Now we go from that to the next topic on the table, which involves baseball.
Yeah, the rumor mill. This is where your guys in the hallways are reporting to you, Ely.
There are 14 free agents, marquee name free agents that are out there taking offers. There are 13 potential trades of recognizable name players out there. Let's start with Michael King. I've been told he's got 7 offers. The Cubs have evidently reappeared as a front runner. Detroit has climbed into it. The Yankees, the Mets, and now the Orioles. But they're all 3-year deals. Everybody a little bit cautious about the physical health issue. The scapular shoulder thing scared a bunch of people. The knee thing, anybody can get a bone bruise. That got solved, the bursitis and all that. But Michael King right now, as marquee a free agent, is there, but it's going to have to be on a club's term, which might be 3 years max. Boston, they made an offer over the weekend to all 3 free agents they're in on. They can't sign them all. It's been insinuated this is the max offer we're willing to make to your agent. First one that accepts it gets the deal, and then we're going to move on. The offers are to Bregman, Alonso, and Realmuto. They're going to sign 2 of the 3, we believe. Of course, they've already made a trade to get a frontline pitcher. So Boston's going to be very active. Next one, Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber has an offer now from the Mets. On top of the weekend offer he got from Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And all of a sudden, a lot of things churning involving Kyle Schwarber. Let's talk about the Pete Rose story. FBI report out of Washington over the weekend that the FBI began an investigation into Pete Rose, the player, gambling while he was playing. And they stumbled upon it, according to the Washington Post report, that Rose was betting through a drug dealer in Cincinnati, Ron Peters, and the FBI stumbled onto Pete Rose placing his bets. Now, this is in the mid-'80s, before the commissioner's investigation of Rose betting on baseball while he was a major league manager, which led to the lifetime ban for him at that point. Evidently, when they stumbled upon Rose's relationship with his drug dealer in Cincinnati, Ron Peters, Rose was more than $400,000 in debt in 1984. The MLB probe did not begin till 1988. Meanwhile, Tony Clark holds a press conference in Orlando, and just really strong statements. He met with the executive committee, which is a player rep from every team. Jake Cronenworth is representing the Padres on the X committee. He told them to be prepared for a lockout at the end of the 2026 season. He says we have a right to advance our players' rights well-being, which means take as much money as you can get without having a salary cap. He indicated the teams that I have access to, and they get revenue sheets, not profit loss statements, but you'd know about this junk, revenue sheets through Major League Baseball of the gross revenue every franchise takes in. He says there's a lot of teams that have the wherewithal to be more active in free agency that don't, and he told the players to their face, the executive committee, including Jake Cronenworth, all 30 of these teams are not committed to win. So Tony Clark has laid the groundwork of what many people fear is going to be a work stoppage. Final topic on the baseball notebook, Hall of Fame committee. The Contemporary Era Committee, which is made of 16 members, front office executives, retired players, Hall of Famers, voted yesterday, and the only guy they're admitting from the contemporary era is your second baseman from the Giants, played with Cleveland, many other clubs, Jeff Kent, 377 home runs, career, 290 batting average, a hell of a grinder, really good player. But that being said, did not vote in Fernando Valenzuela, did not get enough votes, did not vote in good guy, Dale Murphy and his 398 career home runs again, and said absolutely not to Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. And because they were well below the threshold for this era committee, these guys cannot be reconsidered till 2031. And it appears more and more people are still resentful of Bonds and Clemens, a.k.a. the steroid era. So are you bothered by the fact Fernando got snubbed considering his impact culturally as well as what he did as a workhorse pitcher? And should I dare ask you your damn feelings about Bonds the cheat and Clemens the horse, who is a cheat too? Go ahead, John. John, go ahead. Start from the top and just work your way from Michael King down to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, look at that. So, I mean, Michael King, I mean, you can see why he's a coveted pitcher.
Sure.
I mean, you just love watching the way he throws the ball. It seems to break twice on its pathway.
Scientist.
It's incredible. I mean, the way he gets the ball, the move. But I can understand why teams are going to be a little suspect with that, inflamed nerve impingement or whatever the heck that was. It was kind of mysterious.
Sure.
So he'll be fine. I mean, just to cherry pick a few other comments, the Pete Rose situation, it's what you explained that happened before the commissioner's investigation doesn't surprise me. Did that happen while he was a player?
Yes.
Oh, so he was playing the game and placing bets
Through a drug dealer.
Yeah, I mean, Rose is a scumbag. I think we all realize that, but he still belongs in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. That's not really a contradiction. And speaking of the Hall of Fame, by the way, Jeff Kent, I mean, he was good, but he's not great, right? I mean, he's like a lot of those guys that are
all-time record hitting home run guy at second base, 290, 377.
But second base is such a low bar compared to all the other positions. I mean, a person with those numbers that played outfield wouldn't make the Hall of Fame. So why does he deserve special consideration because he was a middle infielder?
I don't know. Bill Mazeroski's in a Hall of Fame for one swing, one home run, and he made the Hall, and he wasn't anywhere near Jeff Kent.
Well, but that's the thing is it's like for many cases it's the Hall of the Very Good. In other cases it's a Hall of Fame. Like consider Dale Murphy. I remember as a kid when I was growing up. I mean, that guy was a beast. Him and Bob Horner with the Braves. I mean, they were so good. And Dale Murphy could hit for power. He could hit for average, and he was fast on the base path. I mean, he was a hell of an athlete, and I keep wondering why in the heck is he not in? So I don't know. If it's up to me, I would welcome all of those. I would welcome all of those drug users. I would welcome the cheats in if they and tell the story. Put it on the plaque and say this guy was an a-hole. This guy tried to ruin our sport. Okay, but he deserves a place here, not because we're memorizing him, but because we're showing you the good, the bad, and the ugly of what happened and what the real history of the sport is.
I agree. As much as I dislike all things Bond stands for and the tragedy that Clemens was such a damn cheat while being so damn dominant.
Yeah.
And obviously Pete Rose, a.k.a. Charlie Hustle for a lot of different reasons on the spectrum, put him in with an asterisk next to him. It's interesting, though. This is a separate Contemporary Era Committee vote. The Rose Reinstatement Group, which also includes Shoeless Joe, they come up for vote in 2027.
Interesting.
So that's a whole separate entity. Thank you, Rob Manfred.
It's so much ridiculous drama about this whole thing. And by the way, Fernando Valenzuela should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy was a cultural sensation and an incredible pitcher. I mean, that guy was not quite a Jackie Robinson, but kind of in that neck of the woods.
I'm amazed. We're doing all these hot topics. I thought this guy would be pounding on the table by right now.
Because you think I'd be like demanding my college football information, yes, which I know we're going to get to. And by the way, I don't blame, Tony Clark for saying we're probably going to lock out. I mean, there's a lot of money going on in the sport, and he's going to try. This is what a union chief should do, is try to apply maximum leverage, make threats. And I fully expect that there probably will be a lockout, but that if there is a lockout, that could be damaging to the sport like the lockout in the 90s was.
Everybody's making so much money. Interest, attendance, TV ratings, all-time high, and go shut the damn thing down. Find a formula to make it work, please. By the way, is anybody offended by my capitalist co-host here? Feel free. Fans Forum chat box is open. I told you we were going to put a lot of hot topics on the table, and we would have some opinions today about what's going on in sports. We are a baseball-centric podcast. Fans Forum chat box is open. Anything and everything, because we cover it all. We go from that. Next topic. You OD'd on football this weekend. I know you OD'd on football. I saw your text to me because you saw my text to you. I OD'd on football, too. Let's just start with college football.
College football. And, man, that was a great game. Indiana and Ohio State.
That was a classic. You had number 1 versus number 2 in every category. 1 and 2 in the ratings, 1 and 2 quarterbacks, 1 and 2 defenses, 1 and 2 in the Heisman Trophy race. By the way, I had to file my Heisman Trophy ballot, filled it in last night. It was a tough, tough call. Let's talk about what Indiana accomplished. I knew they were tough. They out-toughed Ohio State.
They did.
Indiana, 5 quarterback sacks, interception, 9 tackles for losses. They stopped the Buckeyes at the 4 and at the 9. Ohio State was 5 for 14 on third down conversions and missed a chip shot field goal at the end of the game. Fernando Mendoza, they beat him up in the pocket. They chased him out in the flat. He just kept making passes. He threw for 222 and a touchdown. The rollouts really beat Ohio State in the second half. Ohio State got forced into single-man coverage, and they could not stop a couple of the big receivers who were running distinct routes and kept getting them first down after first down. I was so impressed with Julian Sayin because they came after him, and there was so much traffic around him. He threw an interception early into triple coverage where he panicked, settled down after that, but they were chasing him sideline to sideline in rollouts, and yet he wound up throwing for 258. The pressure was unbelievable. It was amazing. I'm a big historian. Do you realize 1945 was a long time ago?
Yeah.
My dad, your dad were in the service in 1945 in the war. 1945 is the last time Indiana won a Big Ten race outright. Think about how many years ago that was.
Yeah, that's a long time.
And 1988 was the last time they beat Ohio State. 30 straight losses to the Buckeyes and the Hoosiers.
Oh,
won it.
That's a long time coming.
Oh, yeah. Just absolutely spectacular. And I just have the feeling these dudes might be on a collision course to meet again once we get to the playoffs. And that's another topic that we're going to talk about. Let's just briefly talk more than just that. Let's talk about Georgia. Georgia dismantled Alabama. Alabama's offense for a month has been leaking oil, and Georgia just stomped them. Alabama's minus 3 yards rushing. Now, they did not have their top back, Jazz Miller. He was out with an injury. But the quarterback, the defense has kind of caught up to him. Great win by Georgia. Tide had 156 yards in total offense in the game.
Wow.
So that's in the SEC championship game. Texas Tech beat BYU again, just blew their brains out for a second time this season. You know, when I used to think Big 12, you get a bad flashback. Big 12 Oklahoma, Big 12 Texas, Big 12 Nebraska back in the day. The title game of the Big 12 was Texas Tech bombing Brigham Young for the second time in a row.
Times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed. Oregon, how about them Ducks? Ducks were not in a playoff game on the weekend. Ducks are going to get a home game at Autzen Stadium to start the playoffs. They are dazzling, especially the way they play at Autzen Stadium. Miami, big win to start the season. Hurricanes, obviously, struggled midseason, finished upbeat. They get to the playoffs, too. Ole Miss, coaching change does not matter. They didn't dip at all. Coaching staff stays intact aside from Lane Kiffin, who takes his sleazy suits and goes to LSU. Tulane, who? Green Wave. Really good coach. He's already gone to Florida. Tulane wins the AAC. Not the ACC, the AAC. By the way, the ACC did not get a team in the playoffs because 5-loss Duke upset Virginia, which was a stunner. And James Madison University, Bob Chesney announced today as the head coach at UCLA, but he's going to be allowed to coach the Dukes in the Sun Belt Conference. They qualified because they were the group of 5. You know where they have to go? JMU goes to Autzen Stadium to play the Ducks.
Oh.
Can you say 69-3?
Welcome to Oregon.
Yeah. So those are all things college football. You OD'd on it. You must have gotten your senses back. Go ahead. You want to comment on what you saw Indiana and all those other storylines?
I do. Yeah. I mean, there were the games, and then there are the implications for the playoff.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the playoff brackets later? Next. Okay. So as far as the games go, I am ecstatic when I saw both Ohio State and Alabama lose. I mean, two great programs, obviously, but I just love all the new blood. I love all this. And the whole Indiana storyline is fantastic. Cignetti is a great coach. I love hearing his rhetoric when he's on the podium. He's always got something clever to say. I'm a little tired of Fernando Mendoza's speech post game. He kind of gets a little bit, way
too much religion.
Yeah, and just as an aside, I just wish players would, they need to be, be proud of their accomplishment. And the work they put in, but sometimes they make it religious, and I have a little trouble with that.
I mean, all his speeches post-game, praise Jesus, right out of the gate, and it goes on and on. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, anyways, the other games, Georgia looked dominant. Texas Tech looked dominant, but in a kind of a unique way. Ole Miss, you were talking about Lane Kiffin in his slick suits, it just remind me of Leisure Suit Larry, which was like an old video game from the 80s.
Al Davis type white jumpsuit.
Exactly.
Pass.
But he anyways, I think all of these games were fantastic. And I think the whole idea of Duke, having this crazy run to win the championship of the ACC, even that's special because Duke is like Indiana. Duke's a basketball school. You don't think of them as a football school, and then you wonder why in the heck Belichick wasn't there and what happened to the ACC and everything else. So it was a fun weekend, and it was good to see a lot of these games in neutral site locations. I mean, it just brought a lot of excitement. But in some of these cases, though, for example, Oregon, they didn't play this weekend. Do you think they're going to have an advantage going into the brackets?
Well, they get everybody healthy. So, yeah. Plus, they're playing a 1AA school, a.k.a. James Madison. That's going to be terrible.
1AA.
But it should be.
Well, you think it's like a Mountain West school or something?
I don't even know if it's a Mountain West school. But anyhow, they're there. And, you're the one that won 100 teams in the playoffs, so we're going to get a 69-3 game. Okay, fans forum chat box is open. How about Indiana, what they did to Ohio State? We go from that. Let's talk about what happened at 11 o'clock yesterday morning when they came out with the final rankings. Yikes.
Yeah, Notre Dame, an ugly temper tantrum. They didn't make the cut.
Oh, the rage is beyond belief. People in South Bend are so steamed. Now, here's Notre Dame that lost early. lost to Miami, lost to the Aggies, and then ripped off 10 wins in a row. Here's Notre Dame that had been held in the upper echelon of the college football playoff poll for the last 5 weeks, did not move. And all of a sudden, the final poll comes out, and they drop right out. And the committee says we're invoking head-to-head competition. That's the only thing that really bothered me. If Miami's win against Notre Dame early in the season was so critical, how come Miami was not rated over Notre Dame anywhere during the 5 weeks that the college football playoff poll came out? That's absurd. And then they had a meltdown on South Bend. Pete Aquavaca was just beyond himself. You could see his face red, see the steam coming out of his ears. And he's talking about just what I said. If head-to-head was so important, how come head-to-head did not come into play earlier, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? And then he says strength of schedule, that's an issue. I happen to say you won 10 in a row. Who the hell did you beat? Just because you stomped Stanford, who'd you beat in the 10-game win streak? That's an issue because Miami played a tougher schedule. And then Notre Dame says, we're not going to a bowl game. Now, I think that's a disservice to those kids. Those kids helped mold a 10-game winning streak. 10-2 is a great season. They did not play a tough-ass schedule. Those kids deserve to go to a party and go to a bowl game. I thought that was a real disservice for Notre Dame to turn all the bowl bids down, turn their back, and say the system is flawed. We don't believe in any of this anymore. Some people have the opinion that's snooty, arrogant Notre Dame. Others say they got every right to stand up and scream. And it wasn't just a couple of years ago. Florida State had the great season. Weren't they unbeaten, lost their quarterback in the final game, and didn't get into the playoffs? Because they invoked this rule, well, we don't think you'll be competitive. So, John, you tell me, how do you side with Notre Dame in this controversy?
There were so many different controversies that were going on over the weekend. I mean, but to this Notre Dame one, well, first of all, my understanding is they had a team meeting. So the players agreed to this.
After Marcus Ferguson said, this is what we're going to do.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I mean, first of all, Notre Dame sort of puts themselves into this position by being an independent. I mean, if they were in one of the conferences...
Well, they're linked to the ACC.
So just join the ACC and win the ACC.
No, they want to be an independent because they're arrogant.
Right. So this is my point is that they kind of made their own bed, because the only way they can get in is at large. So there's only it's even less opportunities for them. So... I don't know. I don't have a problem with them, turning down the bowl bid. They're bitter. I get it. But this just goes to show you that the bowl games are becoming less and less important. And is it for the kids and the party? And it seems like those days are just in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't get those same warm vibes about the bowl games. I just want the playoff. I want to see the 12-team bracket. I want to see a 16 or a 32-team bracket.
Well, then we'll be arguing about teams 31, 32, and 33 a year from today.
Yeah, but at least we know that those teams are the trivial ones hanging on the edge. We argue about teams numbers 67 and 68 in March Madness, but we know that they're not going to win the championship. But if we had a bigger bracket, then Notre Dame would have been in. I mean, it would have been obvious. So again, they still have a lot of fixing to do on this system, but I still love it.
Okay. Fans Forum chat box is open. You Catholic, Protestant, Methodist, agnostic, your reaction to how Notre Dame has reacted. I just felt bad for the kids. I think the kids deserve to go to a bowl game, the hoopla, and it would have been a significant, marquee, fun bowl game in the Deep South. Instead, their season's over and it's snowing like hell and it's 21 degrees in South Bend. That's not fair.
Not fair. Well, Notre Dame always has their special privileges and everything else. I want to ask you about the other teams that didn't make it. It was like Miami.
No, Miami
was in it. Pardon me. Notre Dame was the scapegoat of this whole thing, right?
And then Texas never got there.
Yeah, they came. Yeah, they were always sort of kind of there.
That's 3 losses.
Right. Now, one of the things you keep bringing up is, I don't want to see, James Madison, and it's going to be a 69-3 score and all that. I brought receipts here. I want to read this to you. So here in the 2023 National Championship game, the score was Georgia 65, TCU 7. I mean, this is insane. In 2019, the national championship, number 2 Clemson 44, Alabama 16. We've seen other just horribly lopsided games. I mean, look at this one. In 2018, the Sugar Bowl, number 4 Alabama 24, Clemson 6. So my point is that even if you have the big teams in there, there's still going to be blowout losses, blowout games. But the thing that makes the basketball tournament so great is that you can have, a San Diego State that can make a run and surprise the world. And who knows, maybe Tulane or James Madison might have a Cinderella run. I think the upside of that is so much better than having to get in like some other like 3rd or 4th place team in the SEC. So I think it's great that there's chaos in these brackets. It's great that Indiana is the number 1 seed. I like seeing, the ACC not getting a bid because they didn't get their best guys to win the championship. Maximum chaos. Bring it on.
You're just a troublemaker. Okay. Feel free. Join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. We're not done. We had a lot of other angles here. College football here at home. Next topic.
Yeah, San Diego State and USC have made bowl games.
Let's talk about the Aztecs. Unbelievable Monday press briefing with Coach Sean Lewis. Yeah, they're coming off this bye week. They're going back to the scene of the crime. This is weird. They're going back to Albuquerque. The Aztecs wind up in the New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque against North Texas State. That's going to be like a home game for the Big Green. They're all going to come across the border and go to that game. But he's excited. His kids get a chance to go take part in festivities, even though it's back at the scene of the crime where they lost a couple weeks ago to the Lobos. Sean Lewis put on quite a show today, answered all the tough questions, a couple loaded questions along the way. He did lose his defensive coordinator, and that's too bad. Rob Ulrich is gone. He's taken the defensive coordinator's job on a 3-year deal at the University of Nebraska. I asked him if he approached Rob about staying through the bowl game. And Sean didn't quite say it the way I heard it, but it's like if he wishes not to be here, we'll move on, and we got other people who are going to do this job.
Yeah.
I want all people in. So Rob did a great job, nationally ranked defense. And his bowl game is going to be so much fun. That is an electric, nationally ranked Aztec defense. That is a high-octane, throw the football on every down, North Texas State offense averaging 504 yards per game. That's combustible offense defense. That's going to be really fun. Drew Messmaker, young quarterback at North Texas.
Wait, say his name again?
Messmaker. We talked about him.
That's a great name.
Opening weekend of the season.
Messmaker?
He threw for 4,129 yards.
Wow.
And 31 touchdowns.
Wow.
Kid never started a game in high school.
Really?
And he's starting quarterback at North Texas State.
Good for him.
So that's going to be fun. And he's probably seen every bloody defense there is. Now, here's the quote of the day from the press briefing. And I enjoy interacting with Sean Lewis. I'm not sure he always enjoys the level of questions. But I asked him about what happened to Notre Dame, Texas. He didn't want to get into the politics of it. But he really made a really funny comment. He said, Lee, back in the 1800s, this country built the railroad across the whole nation, linking east and west. And he said, back in the 1970s, did we not walk a man on the moon? If we could do all that, we can solve this issue. Talking about the rankings, the polls, who gets in, the rationale for who got bumped out. Mm-hmm. End of the day, he kind of insinuated, didn't say it, but I have freedom to interpret between the lines, insinuated we need different people making the decision. We don't need conference commissioners who have their own consortium representing who they represent rather than the big picture of football.
Right.
He did not say Nick Saban should head this to come up with a formula that's fair and equal to everybody. He didn't say James Madison was going to get beat 69-3, like I wrote in my One Man's Opinion column today on my website. But he was very vocal about the game needs to be fixed. Other coaches are saying the college football game is broken. So the Aztecs are going to play December 27th. That's going to be fun for these kids. We'll see if he can keep his roster intact before some of these kids are going to hit the transfer portal January 2nd, or some of these kids are going to opt out, I hope not, to go prepare for the NFL draft. The other one is Southern Cal, Lincoln Riley. And the minute I heard this, I had bad flashbacks.
Uh-oh.
USC, Sun Bowl, TCU. Last time they went, I was doing Southern Cal football on Extra 690. We went in and played TCU with their option offense, pitch it left, pitch it right. Who the hell is this sophomore LaDainian Tomlinson? Bad vibes. That was a really crummy New Year's Eve game. Margaritas after the game were fabulous at Great Mexican Food. Almost missed the flight home, but Southern Cal got its ass kicked by TCU back then. As obviously, Lincoln Riley's really got a high-powered offense. It's averaging almost 500 yards per game. So Southern Cal is in the postseason. But it's a Sun Bowl. It's not the college football playoffs where everybody thought the Trojans would be by this point. Lincoln Riley better be in postseason play next year because he's been there 4 years, and they have not gotten there yet. So you want to talk Aztecs, what the coach said, how I interpreted what the coach said, railroads and landing on the moon. He pulls this stuff just out of nowhere. It's so much fun to be around. I think he's had a good season. I think he took exception to I made a comment, something to the effect, in your wildest dreams, aside from your wife and your family dog, did anybody think you had the potential to be 10-3, snapping your fingers? He said, Lee, we put a lot of work into this. We did not turn us just by snapping our fingers. He was going at 106 miles an hour today. If there'd been a state trooper there, he would have got a traffic ticket. But he was good. So your comment on the Aztecs, your comment on all things USC.
Yeah, both these games are going to be kind of, you're saying like the kids deserve the party, and I mean, did the Aztecs really get excited about going back to New Mexico? And New Mexico, Albuquerque, I mean, that's not really a glorified place to be. There's a lot of crime in Albuquerque, not a lot to do. So is this going to be a wonderful festival, a lifetime experience for these guys, or it's just another ball game where they can kind of show off their talents for the next NIL deal in the transfer portal?
Well, I think you're correct there. I mean, it had been theorized that they might wind up in the Boise Bowl on the Bluegrass up there. That did not happen. That's Utah State and somebody else. I can't remember.
I think it's Washington State.
Washington State. And there have been talk about Tucson. Now, you would have gone because you wanted to meet Snoop Dogg. The Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl in Tucson. But that was the other one they were up for running for. So, I mean, it is a lower-level bowl game, but it'll be fun. I mean, for football purists, these dudes throw the ball every down at North Texas State, and that defense creates chaos, as you would say.
Well, you
know, off the line of scrimmage.
It was interesting. I remember over Thanksgiving, I was talking with my my girlfriend's boyfriend. My daughter's boyfriend. And we were talking about North Texas, and I was saying, weren't they the Mean Green? And we were like, yeah. And I go, but wasn't that the name of Burt Reynolds' football team in the Longest Yard?
Yep.
And they're like, but that was the Mean Machine, I think, not Mean Green, right?
Yeah, and Big Mean Green's most famous player was Joe Green, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Jeez. Yeah, but it's interesting. North Texas is kind of like a commuter school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just almost like a glorified community college to a degree.
So close to Albuquerque. I mean, stadium, everybody else stadium be wearing green.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially like Aztec for Life. They want to do like another return to Albuquerque. But then the funny thing with USC, I mean, that's kind of not a glory bowl there to be in the Sun Bowl in El Paso.
El Paso's cool, though. They sell it out.
Yeah.
It is a big event. All these bowl games, I mean, players get nice gift packages. I mean, it's really kind of cool. The Sun Bowl was really, really a fun experience, with the exception of the 4 quarters of LaDainian Tomlinson running pitches on the option all day.
I just remember the quote. You came here and you were bitching and moaning about your backyard, and you had to reseed it. And he goes, "My backyard, it looks like El Paso."
It does still. That's right. My backyard's all burnt grass and dirt, and I can't grow grass until El Nino comes and gives us 5 inches of rain, and I'll grow grass for 2 months, and it'll die again on the heat and the sun.
All right, well, the SC going El Paso.
Okay, that's San Diego State. Aztec fans, your reaction to the job that Sean Lewis has done, your reaction to my interaction with the Aztecs head coach, and I enjoyed dealing with these guys. I enjoyed being around Brady Hoke, and he and I had known each other for decades, way back to when he was a young coach at Oregon State. I just had great respect for all things Rocky Long, and I've gotten along pretty well with all the different coaches I've had there, from, the bad times of Chuck Long to the unique times of Al Luganbill. So I enjoy the interaction.
Hey, Lee, I got one more thing for you. This is a quick update from Casey. He says, Hacksaw, USC is in the Alamo Bowl.
Alamo Bowl, not Sun Bowl.
The Sun Bowl is ASU and Duke.
Brain lock. I'm sorry. I got too many notes here.
Alamo.
But you get the sense they play
El Paso.
TCU. Yeah, it all comes together. My bad. I apologize. The only time I've been wrong this century. Okay, Aztec, USC fans, feel free, jump on board. We're not done. Coaching carousel, quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Let's go to here. Talk about some of these bad people breaking contracts, Lee.
Yeah, Matt Campbell. Now, this is unique. He had just signed an 8-year extension before the start of last season at Iowa State. He's done a great job. He's been up for jobs every place. He winds up as the 4th choice. He goes to Penn State. They sign him to an 8-year contract. Iowa State kind of upset that Matt Campbell took all this and then opted out. Penn State got themselves a really good coach. And then 30 seconds after he left, they went, Iowa State did, and they hired Washington State's coach, Jimmy Rogers. He had been there 15 minutes. They are really angry in Pullman.
Yeah.
I saw a video clip of his introductory press conference from just in January, 11 months ago, 10 months ago. He used the word loyalty 11 times in that press conference because he had been at South Dakota State, had done a great job building a 1AA program. So Jimmy Rogers goes to Washington State, and they're furious that he would opt out 2 days after he signed 28 recruits. And poor Washington State, it's just a vicious cycle of coaches coming and leaving and going. Interesting who they might hire. Rick Neuheisel is floating the idea he wants back into coaching, and he'd bring his son, Jerry, the offensive coordinator at UCLA, with him. And the other name, I don't think I'd touch this with a 10-foot pole, is Chip Kelly. Ooh. Chip Kelly can't work anywhere else, wants to go back into college coaching. And as with apologies to any Washington State Cougar fans, friends, and alums, that's in Pullman. That's a foreign outpost. They don't have a lot of resources. You want Chip Kelly?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's kind of a weird situation over there. Really upset. Jimmy Rogers would do this to them less than a year after he took the job, and he used the word loyalty all those times in his introductory press conference. And you have to say, in reaction to that, 25 coaches changed jobs last week.
Yeah, I just keep thinking of the whole calendar for college football. Yep. I think that's playing a role in a lot of this because you have conflicting incentives, and conflicting, things that different people are attracted to different things in different ways. And it all collides at this time. I mean, if I were one of those 28 recruits of Washington State and I'm here, to go with my coach and he's gone 2 days later, I'm like, well, what the hell? I'm going to probably put my name back into the portal and see if something better comes along.
Well, but everybody spent their scholarship money. That's a problem. But if you hire instantly and it's Rick Neuheisel, that's credibility.
Yeah, Neuheisel is credibility. Chip Kelly would just be a disaster. He's shown that he doesn't have, the ability to really be an effective head coach.
Yeah, not in the NFL and obviously not in college anymore.
Right. So why would you take him in Washington State? So I don't know. Rick Neuheisel sounds intriguing, but even if Rick Neuheisel came to Washington State, how old is he? He's got to be
maybe close to 60, but I still think.
Oh, he's got to be over 60.
No, I still think he churns enthusiasm. And at that point, that's what you need. And it's not like he's leaving to go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's true. He just has a TV gig.
Yeah, but he's very good at what he does. Mm-hmm. But I think he's got great credibility. Okay, feel free. You want to jump on board last minute talking about the coaching carousel. 25 changes in 1 week in Division I college football. Before we get to halftime, quickly, we're going to burn through NFL storylines. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go. Chargers-Eagles, Monday Night Football.
Justin Herbert, they're very standoffish as to whether he's going to be able to play. Very limited practice at the end of this past week. They had the extra day or two before because they're playing Monday night. But this is Justin Herbert with a cast on his left hand, not being able to take snaps under center. Everything had to be shotgun. Trey Lance took all the snaps on goal line plays, short yardage plays if they have to run the football because he can't hand off. Justin Herbert cannot hand off with his left hand. So that's a big issue if they're going to run lifetime shotgun. The other big issue is who the Eagles got on defense. God, they got a great defense. Even though Jalen Carter's not going to play because of a shoulder issue, they got Vic Fangio, the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. This is going to be phenomenal to watch the matchups. Can Fangio's pass rush, blitz package, whatever it is, get to Herbert? Can this makeshift offensive line that's had 5 different left tackles and 4 different right tackles hold up against the Eagles' pass rush? And can the Charger collection of wide receivers get open against all things as secondary offers? This matchup is not Justin Herbert versus Jalen Hurts. This matchup is Justin Herbert or whoever starts at quarterback against Vic Fangio. This Monday night game is going to be really something. And the other sidebar question, look who's left on the Charger schedule. This might be the beginning of the end because they got the Eagles, they got Dallas, they got Houston, they got Kansas City, they got Denver, and they got a bunch of those on the road.
Houston is hella good, man. Yeah, I mean that's a tough road. The gauntlet, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, but that gauntlet's looking a lot tougher now.
Well, the quarterback hurt, yes.
Yeah. So what can we expect from Herbert, like on his left hand? Because I was reading about it in the best 15. It's like he's going to have some sort of protective covering.
He's got a hard cast after the surgery, and then they'll wrap it with a protection. But it's going to inhibit handing off. He can't hand off. He can't lose his left hand to hand off. He can use his left hand to cradle the ball before he throws it. So, and Philadelphia's not going to hit him on the left hand.
I mean, they'll be targeting that hand. Yeah. And by the way, Vic Fangio, do you think he's the best defensive coordinator? I thought Spagnuolo was considered the number one. No?
Fangio historically is excellent with X's and O's. So, Chargers, Eagles, you're a Charger fan, feel free, jump on board. We go from that to the upside-down world that we saw yesterday because a bunch of teams, John, that lost, these all have implications.
Yeah, a lot of big games here. That Bills game in the snow was something.
Snowball. Poor Joe Burrow. I mean, he did everything. He threw 4 touchdown passes, but he threw back-to-back bad interceptions on just short passes. One was tipped at the line of scrimmage. The other was a flare pass that a linebacker made a leaping catch in the snow and killed 2 drives. Buffalo, big win. All things Josh Allen, 329 all-purpose yards, throwing, running, 4 touchdowns along the way. Rams. What are the Rams? Sledgehammer, Arizona. Matthew Stafford throws for 281. The kid, Blake Corum, 128 on the ground. Puka, 7 catches, 117 yards. Rams sitting there at 10-3. Green Bay beats Chicago. Jordan Love throws for 234 and a couple of touchdowns. Caleb Williams threw for 186 and 2 touchdowns. He kind of hung in there right to the end. The Packers win that. Denver, really messy game because of the weather, beat the Raiders. Bo Nix, sloppy weather and all, goes 31 for 38, throwing it dink and do, throws for 212. Raiders, get this, had 77 yards at halftime. Your Raiders had 30 yards running the football for the whole game.
30
with Ashton Genty.
That's brutal.
That's a disaster there. Seattle beats Atlanta. Lopsided game there. Sam Darnold goes for 249. Seahawks. I don't know anybody had them being 10-3 on their bingo card when the season started. Kansas City. Wow. Terrible call. The Chiefs fought back from a 10-0 deficit, tied the damn game. 10 minutes to go in the game. 4th and 1 at Kansas City's own 30 with 10 minutes to go in a tie game. And Andy Reid tries to throw a pass that winds up getting knocked down. Took all the momentum out of the whole second half. Houston goes on to win the game. Kansas City's run as AFC Kingpin is now officially over. and they may not make the playoffs. They're sitting there at 6-7. The Thursday night game, we didn't have a chance to talk about it. That Dallas game, that Dallas-Detroit game, was fireworks. Dak Prescott throws for 376. CeeDee Lamb had 6 catches for $115 before he got hurt. And this is not a household name. Brandon Aubrey, field goal kicker, he kicked 5 of them, including 55, 57, and 63.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes, he's really good. Cleveland, speaking of coaches making bad play calls. So Shedeur Sanders goes out there, and Shedeur winds up with 393 all-purpose yards through 3 touchdowns. He was running all over the field, throwing into coverages he shouldn't throw into, getting some unbelievable receptions by his receivers. They get down to the goal line, score, and they're going in for a 2-point conversion to win it, and he takes Shedeur off the field, and they try to run a wildcat wide receiver option on the 2-point play, and it blows up on their face. What is Kevin Stefanski thinking after the kid threw for 393? The kid's wild. The kid is athletic. The kid's got no fear at all. So I'm willing to go farther down the road with Shedeur Sanders because he's showing me a lot of things. He's also going to get killed running the way he's running, but you can get that out of him. By the way, Tennessee, a 1-11 team, beats the Browns. Cam Ward threw for 112 in the NFL, 112 yards. His statistics are just god-awful. Tennessee's god-awful, and yet they beat Cleveland because Stefanski did something stupid at the end of the game. And then, obviously, the sad story, Daniel Jones, Indianapolis, they've lost 4 or 5, and he ruptures his Achilles. Did not get hit. He planted to throw a flat pass, leg exploded. Season over, 9 months rehab, going to be gone till the middle of next season, and they're dead. They have no quarterbacks. Riley Leonard, Notre Dame refugee, and Brett Ripien. Those are your quarterbacks. Try to fix this and get the Colts in the playoffs. They went from the emotional high of where they were early at 8-2 to where they are right now, having lost 4 or 5. Not good. All things NFL, feel free.
Oh, AR-15's hurt, right, for the Colts?
Still on IR.
Okay, I mean, that's tough, man. Daniel Jones is having this wonderful comeback year.
Yep.
And you saw him when he slammed his helmet on the ground. You felt the pain with him. Good on Shedeur. Really happy that he's lighting it up. You know, Collinsworth was kind of writing the obituary for this Kansas City Chiefs after last night's game.
No, they are 6-7 running out of time.
But it was interesting how, Kelsey was dropping passes. And
they had four critical drops in the second half. But again, Mahomes was under heat, and that coverage they had 7 pass deflections. That coverage, like you say, Houston, kick-ass defense.
Oh, they're incredible. I mean, they're very impressive. And by the way, Joe Burrow, when he was making his passes, that guy is hella good. I mean, what a big difference he makes when he's playing for the Bengals. But one of those interceptions was like this weird sort of shot put throw.
He was trying to throw it out in the flat, and his linebacker read his eyes, made a big catch here. And the other was the next pass he threw on the next series was a deflection at the line of scrimmage, and they wound up scoring on both those drives.
Weird. Now, the one final thing is, did you see in the Denver Raider game the way that ended? And a lot of people say there's a lot of controversy
about Pete kicking a field goal.
Well, it was kicking the field goal, but it was also the penalty that was called, I think, some kind of an interference call that ended up stopping the clock. And so it had the vibe of
rig,
like a rig, to get the game, on one side or the other of the point spread. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not sure about that. We're going to find out more.
I hope not. Anyhow, those are hot topics on the table. We got to halftime. Still to come. Fans Forum chat box. Feel free to join us. Podcast is brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. John, Christmas shopping season is just around us. Gift cards. It's one of the unique things that Dixieline does. In addition to all the tools they have, in addition to making available to all the contractors the lumber. They are the lumber kings here on the West Coast. But talk about the tool collection.
Yeah, the tools. They got all the tools that you need, power tools. We're seeing a lot of display here of Bosch. DeWalt is another big, manufacturer that they carry. So they've got all the power tools that not only, the professional contractor is going to want, but same with the do-it-yourself homeowner. But these guys are great. And around the Christmas time, Lee, they got all kinds of products that are out there that they'd be great stocking stuffers. If it isn't a gift card, there's a lot of other things that they have. So go visit one of the Dixieline stores in San Diego and check them out. You're going to find some stuff you're not going to get at a shopping mall, I'll tell you what.
And not go to a shopping mall. Go to Dixieline.com just to see all the things that they have to offer. Just a couple of business items. When we're done with this podcast, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, topics and hot opinions, then you take it over. John, we got so many people storming here to get on. How do they join us for Fans Forum?
Yeah, you just get involved. It's really easy. Just drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, or on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum. A lot of conversation going on here on the Fans Forum list.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that right when we finish up here with the second half of the podcast. Please give us a thumbs up and follow. It helps us immensely. Give us a 5-star rating if you want. Share and subscribe. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because then you'll get the alerts every time we put additional videos up. Want you to check my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. You got to read my one man's opinion column today about your college football playoffs that you wanted. Look at the mess we have right now. And, of course, you get to read the best 15 minutes in sports. And you can join me on the Hacksaws Insiders group. That means you'll get the newsletter. John and I put out 2 sports newsletters a day. It's better than your damn newspaper in terms of more timely information. You can just register right on my homepage, join Hacksaws Insiders Group. Okay, John, let's move quickly here so we can get to Fans Forum. We got a few other topics on the table you want to talk about. Let's start with hoops.
Hoops, Lakers, Clippers, problems off the floor.
Well, the Lakers continue to win, 17 wins on the season. But that sciatica has flared again. Again, I'm speaking from experience. Once you got it, you don't want it to stay, and you don't want it to come back. LeBron's sciatica has come back, and now, speaking from experience, he's got an arthritic problem in his foot. He did score 29 last night, but he's been in and out of the lineup and in and out of practice. The Clippers situation, now there's unhappiness in that locker room. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden have both gone public, asking, why did you treat Chris Paul the way you did when they released him at 3 o'clock in the morning last Wednesday? Kawhi of the opinion, this guy's all about winning. James Harden said he's always been vocal. So what happened in that showdown in the locker room and the argument is no different what's happened every other place he's been, because that's who he is. So all of a sudden, they got a problem in the Clippers with their 2-star returning players.
How do you get let go at 3 in the morning?
You get a text.
Well, that's what it must be. I'm just thinking it's like, unless people are out drinking late at night or something.
No, you text the agent. The agent texted Chris Paul at 3 o'clock in the morning.
So they must have had a late night meeting before they arrived at that decision.
Well, I think this had been festering for a while after the incident 2 weeks prior. They just, according to NBA people, they got tired of his antics.
Yeah. I mean, the Clippers are just so damn cursed.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous.
That's what Blake Griffin said. He said, this is unbelievable. It just keeps happening.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you could do to fix it. I mean, I think Ballmer, to his credit, is trying everything he can to make this a successful franchise.
Yep. Okay, Fans Forum chat box is open. You want to join us there. Let's go from hoops. Let's talk hockey.
Hockey, off-the-ice issues.
Oh, Canada Network, feel free. And I don't think this is a catastrophic story, but they're making a huge thing because it's hockey north of the border. I went to 4 different websites to get reaction. Columnists are going nuts. The Olympic Arena in Milan, Italy, which is going to host the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, is behind schedule. And they've had 3 years to get this done. It's behind schedule, and the NHL executives went over there 2 weeks ago, and they found out the rink that they built with the ice-making equipment is not the legal size that they agreed to. Now, an NHL rink is 200 feet by 85 feet. Now, I don't think this is a big thing, but the NHL union's making a big thing out of it. This rink they built is 196 feet, 4 feet shorter by 85. It's only 4 feet. So either into the attack zone is shorter, or you just make center ice a little bit more narrow. But they're all upset. They can't understand how the hell somebody could screw this up, but it's screwed up. And they're behind schedule. And if they don't get this arena done, there's no place in Italy they can go play. And they're selling all these advance tickets. So this thing is FUBAR? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, Canada Hotline. Feel free to join us. Fans Forum chat box that is open for business. The other story is the picture. That gentleman is Tim Leiweke. Tim Leiweke is the former vice president of the Los Angeles Kings. He's gotten involved with the Oakview Group, huge group, financial group that builds arenas. He was sentenced and convicted for bribery on an arena bid at the University of Texas and sentenced to jail. And your president pardoned him. The guy never went to jail. But then again, your president is pardoning everybody, regardless of what they've done. Anyhow, Tim Leiweke, who I think is a really good man, I read some of the documents. I don't know that it was rigging. You didn't cut law class the day they taught it at UCSD. I'll just give you a quick background. So there's 2 groups bidding with the University of Texas to build a state-of-the-art Fancy Dan basketball arena. Oakview, Tim Leiweke's group, and another group, both putting big money bids. Leiweke goes to the other group and says, we want you to drop out. Let us build it because of our expertise. Leiweke's Oakview group builds arenas everywhere, Europe, here, etc. Leiweke said, if you drop out, we will give you a whole bunch of the subcontracts to operate the arena. Mm-hmm. Let us build it, get the financing and do it. Is that price fixing? Is that bribery? He just asked them to change the structure of what they were doing and become partners, a different type of partner, rather than run the whole arena. So tell me, based on your expertise.
Yeah, well, if he's in jail for bribery, it probably was. But if that's all it is,
that's what I was.
To me, that's not a sin. That's not a problem. I mean, it's just business strategy. You know, but to your other point, though, I mean, Trump is pardoning a lot of people, including like the Honduran president who was like a kingpin in the whole drug deal. And I mean, there's a lot going on with these pardons. How
can you explain this guy? How could you support this guy? Your president.
And then, by the way, that arena in Milan, I mean, first of all, how in the hell do you not follow the specifications?
I agree.
You know, is it like some sort of a metric conversion or something like that? And why the heck is it in feet, not in meters? But I mean, it's 4 feet sounds trivial, but I bet you know, the way those hockey players move, they know. Like it takes, I don't know, like 5 or 6 strides to get across. And this is going to make it like 5.5 strides, you know, and that could result in an injury.
It's only 4 feet. The bigger issue is what the hell's going to happen if this arena is not done?
They're going to have to go play in Germany or something. I don't know.
What a nightmare. Hockey Hotline is open for business. Fans Forum chat box. If you like puck, jump on board. Last couple of topics on the table, hot headlines. Oh, get ready for this one.
FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, let's start. World Cup bids are out. We know group play, Team USA. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. Team USA is in what they call Group D. I'm not going to say it's a walkover because you got to play the matches. But in their group is Paraguay, Australia, and maybe Turkey. This looks like this is an entry pass for Team USA to go into the knockout round. Mexico, this is more of a scary group. It's called Group A. El Tri has to play South Africa, South Korea, and maybe Denmark. Now, those are pretty good sides. England, this might be the easiest group. It's Group L. In their group, Panama and Ghana. English invented the game. They've not had great success in a World Cup in modern time. Brazil, Group C. They're going to play Haiti, Scotland, and maybe Morocco. That's probably a walkover for them. And the group of death, France, Group I. They're going to play Senegal, which is a global power, and they're going to play Erling Haaland and all things Norway. And there'll be a third team in that group. They're calling the French group the group of death. And do you want me to bring this side topic up? I should bring this side topic up just to tell you, as long as we're talking about all things. soccer and all things your president. FIFA historically has never gotten involved in politics. So FIFA spends $2 million to put on a 3-hour presentation for the draw in Washington, D.C. And all these countries are raising holy hell with FIFA's leadership. Why would you burn through all this capital to put this big party on? And FIFA's president develops the Peace Medal. And he gives the Peace Medal to your president. And everybody globally is incensed at FIFA because this is not supposed to be political. And you did this for that man? They found out he was your president? Holy cow. So anyhow, so that's all things World Cup soccer. Grand Prix, season is over. Grand Prix of Abu Dhabi, final race on the Formula One schedule. Max Verstappen ran away from the field, started on a pole, finished with a 12-second victory. But even though he won his 8th race of the season, which is a phenomenal accomplishment for Mad Max, he did not win the points championship. Lando Norris came from the back of the pack, fought through blocking moves by one of Verstappen's teammates on Team Red Bull who got penalized, and he finished 3rd. Lando Norris wins the point championship and the $8 million bonus by 2 points. Team Red Bull tried to block him, almost wrecked him at the end of the race, and then the driver, Sonoga, was black flagged out and penalized for blocking Lando Norris, who was trying to get to 3rd, and he did finish 3rd. Hell of a finish for Verstappen. You win 8 races in that race, that series of racing. That's pretty impressive. Last topic. He stood up on the stand and testified in Charlotte. We're talking about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan suing antitrust lawsuit, suing NASCAR. He, 23X team, and Front Row Racing, suing the France family. He stood up and said, I am a new person in this business. I had a successful career. I know the rights of players, making reference to the rights of drivers, the rights of teams. They're fighting over this charter situation. They have accused the France family that runs NASCAR of taking all the money and putting it into their bank accounts and leaving 13 of the 15 teams dying out there on the vine who are losing money. And Michael Jordan stood on the stand and said, NASCAR, you have shortchanged the drivers who risk their life every Sunday for your sport. You're shortchanging them. I resent you for your gun-to-the-head approach of doing business with all these historical teams. I have never seen Jim France drive a car or risk his own life, and yet he's the president of NASCAR who's putting all this money. It's a disgrace that you gave us a 112-page document and 6 hours to read it and then have to accept the charter offer or go out of business. He says this has never been a partnership under the France regime. It's strictly a dictatorship. You're absent your responsibility to take care of all these teams who employ 300 to 450 people per team. It was really emotional, and he stood on the stand. He stood up, looked at the table where Jim France was with his lawyers, and pointed right at him. Good. I think that people in the jury box were influenced by all things Michael Jordan. Wow.
Wow. Wow, that was something.
Yep.
I mean, I'm good on Michael Jordan for standing up for what's right. I mean, it's kind of crazy how, these teams are just losing money. It's like a financial crisis in NASCAR.
Yeah, they give them $12 million a year revenue share, and they demand they spend $20 million a year to put their cars on the track.
So that's $8 million you got to find somewhere else. Plus, you got to be able to.
Plus your expenses.
Yeah, plus everything else. Yeah. So, yeah, that's tough. And by the way, FIFA is such a corrupt organization. Doesn't it sort of make sense that they're stroking Trump? I mean, they obviously want to get on his good side because if Trump got a little bit feisty, they could throw their plans off for the World Cup. But,
they're interfering with all the visas and all these travel from countries that your president hates.
Geez. So I don't know. I just hope it goes off smoothly. By the way, it's always funny how there's always a group of death. Every time we have these, I think it's fantastic.
That's a soccer term.
I know it is, but it just makes it entertaining. How do they pick them? Was it like, the ping pong balls?
Yeah, exactly.
So did they have like a frozen envelope in there to rig the system so the United States had
No, but the people looked at it sideways and said, oh, Team USA maybe got the easiest draw, you think?
Yeah, well, they tend to do that. Don't they always kind of make it easier for the host team?
Could be, but
Mexico didn't get a break.
No. Just absolutely amazing. We cover all the topics on the table. That's the way we're doing this podcast. Now it's your turn. Here comes Fans Forum. We're going to try to bust as many as we can. Have a take, don't suck. Want you to join us now. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber, home of the unique Christmas gift. Think tools, think Dixieline gift cards. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. John, your computer is going to melt down. We got so many people with opinions. Go ahead.
We got a lot going on here. Yeah, let's go here to this is an interesting name. What does this say? Just here to like the video. He says, LeBron James should retire. No need to play the year out unless they want a Kawhi thing and use this as an excuse and not call it load management.
Well, it's obvious that he's got health issues and he's breaking down, but he is not a young guy anymore. But he was dominant in the playoffs last season. So it's not like there was a telltale sign that he was going downhill, but this has all started in the offseason. And I'll tell you, speaking from my experience as a damn talk show host, you get sciatica, pal, that is debilitating. But at this point, unless he suffers another big setback and it's gone for a huge chunk of the season, at this point, they're just going to try to manage it. But it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally surprised that medical technology has gotten so good in so many categories.
Couldn't solve my problem.
Yeah, but like on back issues, sciatic issues, seems always it's tricky.
Yep. Well, it's nerves. And nerves in one point impact nerves somewhere else. He's got the exact same thing. I've known John 3 years. I crawled in here with sciatica problems, and I still have them. And LeBron's got the exact same set of things from back to hip, down to leg, now to an arthritic situation in the foot.
Yeah, he's probably sitting on the couch watching sports with a laptop on him. The ergonomics are similar to you, and he's got the same problem.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's keep on trucking. Let's go over here, go to Philip. Hey, good afternoon, gents. With baseball free agency going on and all these high prices and long-term contracts being thrown out, there comes a time where a team that is just meh and have a lot of long-term contracts they cannot afford to get better. I see San Diego Padres as a meh team with 4 mega contracts that they are stuck with and cannot upgrade because of their money limitations. Don't see this happening with the rest of MLB.
I'd be really concerned from a Padres standpoint if they're starting to funnel down the payroll. And I just kind of get this weird vibe that's happening. And now, if they're going to trade Pivetta because of fear he's going to opt out a year from now after the $19 million salary this season, that's just not a good sign. And John, does it feel like the owners are starting to dump contracts overboard because they're trying to sell this thing?
Yeah, we're getting mixed messages because they said it was going to be business as usual. But I would imagine, I can see, well, anytime teams are for sale, they always do this. They usually have a fire sale and kind of clean house.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see what this thing is like through Wednesday when the baseball meetings finally wrap up. By the way, I just got an email. The Padres' new manager, Craig Stammen, just met with the media and has announced all those guys in the bullpen are going to be in the bullpen.
Oh.
Morion, Mason Miller, those guys are staying in the bullpen. And so that means the Padres have to go get starting pitching. They're not going to transfer anybody out of their responsibility from what they were last year.
Well, it's one thing if they're not going to convert him to a starter. The other question is are they going to trade him? Because that's where they have a surplus of value. That's where they can deal some guys away.
Well, we'll find out. Again, I got guys in the hallway that are sending me texts and emails there.
Hacksaw spies are out there. Okay, let's go to Richard. He goes, Fans Forum, Jeff Kent getting into the Hall of Fame, but Fernando is a slap in the face to his career and his impact on the game. What did Jeff Kent do to move the game forward like Fernando? The Hall of Fame's a joke.
Well, Fernando obviously had huge impact culturally. In addition, I think his career record was like 177 and 150-ish or so. But what he meant to the Latino community, the reinvention of baseball, the Mexican following, there's an intangible price tag I think you have to put there. But he didn't get enough votes, so he can't come up for reconsideration under this epic era committee till 2031. It's kind of disappointing along the way. But Jeff Kent was a hell of a player. I mean, he was a grinder. Now, John's opinion is the second baseman's not very sexy, but the dude did hit 377. He played all the time. You could not get him out of the library. I mean, could not get him. I'd put the glasses back on. Sometimes I wear glasses. Nouns and verbs run together. You could not get him out of the lineup, and he was a hard ass to deal with. I mean, I dealt with him at Petco Park, and he could just really be stubborn. But he was a really fine ball player, lock solid. You knew what you were getting in the lineup every day.
You say couldn't get him out of the lineup. You know that whole controversy how he got hurt, and he said, "Oh yeah, I fell off my truck when I was washing it," but it was really a motorcycle injury. I think he had a specific clause; he wasn't supposed to ride motorcycles. So yeah, Jeff Kent was a little prickly.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, and it was interesting. That he's linked with Bonds, and they would often walk Bonds to get to Kent. And I don't know. By the way, I think Bonds needs to get in. You got to let that guy in. I mean,
we understand that you have. I don't want to say it,
but you know what though? The Giants, they're going to have like a bunch of other Hall of Famers coming down the pike here.
Yep.
I mean, we got Buster Posey, we got Bruce Bochy. I mean, it's going to be a nice little run here.
Yeah, San Francisco will be throwing a party if we allow those who are dirty to get into. Okay, we move on.
All right, let's go to our friend John. He goes, hey, how much longer will the ACC be a football conference? You got Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Vatech, all looking for greener pastures. Cal and Stanford are going to look at the distances and think, we could dominate the Pac-12 2.0 and save a bunch on travel.
Well, I think that Cal and Stanford have to evaluate. They have no business being in that conference. The ACC bylaws, though, won't allow any of these other guys to get out now. The buyouts are so significantly steep. But at the end of the day, this is what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted the super conference. Now the ACC has been left out, and there's really nobody. You're not going to take Southern Mississippi and tell me that's going to be a power in the ACC. There's really nobody to go get. You sucked off what you could get in Syracuse and Pitt and these guys. So, unless Notre Dame becomes a full-fledged lifetime ACC member rather than just a scheduling partner, but I don't think Notre Dame's arrogance would allow them to leave independent status. So, yeah, ACC is a little bit less than what the Big Ten and the SEC is. But, hey, the whole world wanted college football playoffs, and now look what we got. Freaking headache.
Well, the playoffs are good. I mean, they got the 12-team playoffs better than the 4 or the 8. Mm-hmm. But, that's why we love college basketball tournament, because it's a big tournament. And you get big, Davids against a big Goliaths against little Davids, and sometimes those happen. That's
a 5-man team, whereas the college football is 22 starters.
Yeah, but you're going to still have, remember Boise State beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl that one year?
It was one time.
But still, I mean, that's what we want to see, And it's, so getting these other teams involved, I think is all a great thing. And by the way, when I think of the ACC, I go backwards to the 90s and the 80s, and I just think that's a basketball conference.
Sure, always has been.
Yeah, because I always think of Duke and UNC and NC State.
Still is.
Yeah, Maryland, kind of made a little bit of a run at times. I don't really think of them as a football conference, although Clemson had that nice run. But, yeah, it makes you wonder, from a conference perspective, yeah, you need a guy like Nick Saban or some dude to get in there and just reconfigure it.
Make the formula work.
And make it work, yeah.
To quote Sean Lewis, Aztec head coach, because I asked him, and his response was, if we can build a railroad linking the East and the West, if we can put man on the moon, we should be able to solve this. That's from the coach.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think if they, quote, solve it, is that going to just make it a Power 4 playoff bracket?
Probably.
Is that the solution, or is the solution to get all the conferences involved?
No. What you need to do is solve it to make it a playoff for the best conferences, and at the same time fix the bowl games. Fix the second-tier and third-tier bowl games. There were not drawn 12,000 fans to see some of these
that's
games.
why you need to expand the bracket, because then those small bowl games like the Sun Bowl in El Paso, becomes like the first round of a round of 16 or a round of 32.
I'd like to see it, but nobody seems to agree with me on many things these days.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of fixing that we need to do in sports, Lee. I mean, and it's not just in college football and college basketball. There's a lot of things that they're just not structured right.
All triggered by money.
Yeah, and now you got politicians that are saying, well, we need to go figure out and solve it. And I don't want to trust those guys to do it. It's a mess.
You mean the guy got the peace medal?
Well, I'm not talking about him. There's been other congressmen who have been talking about maybe jumping in.
Yeah, I'll pass on that one. Okay, thank you, John. Great insight as always. Go ahead, John.
Okay, to music to my ears, and my apology, I should have put you at the front of the list. Thank you.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Padres talking to trading Pivetta for younger pitchers. Looks like they're really hurting financially and throwing in the towel. What's your prediction for their win-losses in 2026?
Well, you can't make that prediction until we find out who's on the roster and what kind of starting rotation they have and where it's going to come from. If they trade Pivetta, obviously there has to be a younger, more affordable arm who's got credentials coming here to start in place of Pivetta at the front end of the rotation. You trade Pivetta, I don't like anything in that starting rotation. You might be a Randy Vasquez fan. Maybe you're related to Randy Vasquez, but you want him to be your number one starter? Please. And Craig Statman just announced the Moriones in the world are staying in the bullpen. The Mason Millers of the world are staying in the bullpen. They're not coming into the rotation. So that means that AJ he's got deals working. He'll make deals. Will they be equal to what Pivetta was last year? Was that an isolated one-off, 2.87 when his career ERA was in the fours? Maybe it was, but you can't take away what he won. You can't take away the productivity.
Well, if they could flip him and get a good return, why say no? Especially when they got that great year off a $1 million salary. And they can avoid the bigger money. But I'm just thinking more big picture. Has there been any news on the sale of the franchise, or B, on A.J. Preller extension?
No. I think once Preller comes back from these winter meetings, they'll probably get a deal done maybe sometime in January. And then so the baseball side of the franchise operation will be in place, but we don't know what the business side is because, I saw a cartoon today that seems like that had a picture of the Seidlers throwing stuff overboard on a boat. Dumping bodies into the bay. I didn't like that, but we'll see. Let's just give him a little bit of space and see. But I was kind of floored with this story that broke at 7 o'clock this morning about Pivetta being shopped, and that came from other general managers who kind of insinuated AJ's dropping hints he's willing to take offers. I don't like that.
Well, the other crazy rumor you see online are these Yankee fans thinking they can trade for Tatis. And it's just dreaming, I think, don't you?
Well, Tatis got no trade.
Right.
So that makes it a little bit more complex. But why would you do that from a credibility standpoint? Then you're just like you're mailing it all in.
Yeah, and you're just blowing everything up.
Yep.
Okay. Let's talk a little F1 here with Digital Row. Hey, what a finish to the F1 season. Lando Norris winning the championship and Team McLaren winning the Constructors' Cup. Lando Norris beating Max Verstappen by 2 points. Hi, Lee and John in left field.
John is in left field with a lot of his opinions. I agree. Great race. I tell you, Verstappen's accomplishment. You win 8 races, including 5 in a row at the end of the F1 season, and that's running with your hair on fire, and that's eliminating everybody that's trying to chase you down. You're doing 190 miles an hour into these curves, and he's preventing people from passing. I mean, he's got brass. He has no fear whatsoever. Is he Captain Cutthroat? I mean, that's what Lewis Hamilton calls him for his driving style. He does intimidate. He's kind of like Dale Earnhardt, like, I'm behind you, I'm going to put you on the wall, and I'm going to go by you. But Lando Norris racing his shoes off to get back after a bad pit stop and came from back of the pack to finish third, while Verstappen's teammate tried to block him and got black flagged and told to move over. So F1 is just rocking and rolling. I mean, its popularity right now is at an all-time high.
But isn't it interesting that we always seem to talk about the same, mostly three guys?
3 teams.
Yeah. Oh, there's 3 teams. Okay, but I keep thinking of Verstappen, Norris, and Piastri.
Well, that's Red Bull and that's McLaren. Now, will Mercedes ever come back with Lewis Hamilton? I don't know. They had such a crap season this year.
Well, but Lewis Hamilton was on Ferrari, though, right? I mean, that was another team.
Right.
So, anyways, the point I'm getting at is we always see sort of the same names. I mean, what's going on with the guys that are like more in the middle, in the back of the pack in F1? It seems like, do they just get a bad pole position and they'll just never get to the top of the list?
To make it work. I mean, Lewis Hamilton went to Ferrari.
Yeah.
Disaster of a season for him and Charles Leclerc. They could just never figure it out. Horsepower, downforce packages, and then you screw it up with bad pit stops, and they don't qualify well. I mean, it's next to impossible when you qualify 9th. Lewis Hamilton started 16th at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
You can't go from 16th to run on the front of the pack.
It's too narrow of a course. That's the thing when I'm watching F1 and I'm comparing it to American NASCAR. I mean, you can get 4 abreast on a NASCAR track sometimes. You're lucky if you can get 2 abreast in an F1 track.
Well, with the turns and all that, yeah. It's not really wide enough. So right now, this thing is cyclical. You'll have good teams that'll do very well. Red Bull has just dominated, and then McLaren came out of nowhere last season with Piastri, and then Norris has just been growing and being a superstar. But those two are they're the dominant ones. I'll give you an example how bad it is. Team Haas, which is the U.S.-based team, has been in business more than a decade. I don't think they've had a guy on the podium yet in 10 years.
Really?
And here comes Cadillac and what was supposed to be Andretti Cadillac. Cadillac's coming into F1 next year. It's going to be fascinating to see how quickly you can get this thing up to run, or is it going to be just...
Well, help me out here with these, because of all the team names are auto manufacturers, it seems, except for Red Bull, right? So, and it's, by the way, isn't it interesting that like an energy drink has not only an F1 team, but an MLS soccer team?
Oh, they have everything. Their fingerprints are everywhere.
Yeah, it's just weird. So, I mean, what the Red Bull team, I mean, what kind of engines?
You hire the best. I don't know whether they have Honda engines or not, but you hire the best people who can put together all the packages, because that involves engines, that involves downforce, that involves chassis, that involves tires, that involves race strategy. I mean, these F1 teams, mega number of employees.
That's crazy. I mean, the whole thing is just, I mean, I learned so much about it.
Oh, you're hanging with me.
I hang with you, yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, let's go here to Greg. Hey, Lee and John, can San Diego support an NHL franchise?
We don't have a place to play. Plain and simple, Greg. It's a very valid question with the explosion in growth. Stan Kroenke is the one that's going to develop a new sports arena in the part of the entertainment district in the Midway area where the old sports arena is. But that's not next Monday. That's not 5 years from next Monday. This is a long process. And, then the other question is, does the NHL want to expand down here? Will the Kings and Ducks try to block them? Would the Lakers and Clippers try to block an expansion team coming into this market? Market's grown. It's $3.5 million now just in San Diego County. But got to have an arena. We don't have an arena.
Well, the new arena that they're going to build at the sports arena is not necessarily an NHL quality venue, is it?
I don't think so. It's 15,000, I believe, or 16,000. More towards basketball than hockey.
Yeah, or like for concerts and things like that. So it seems to me that, San Diego has this sort of underground stealth kind of hockey fans that show up for the Gulls games.
Gulls are drawn really well this year, considering they've been so bad for 4 years. But they've drawn 11,000 and 12,000, and last night they drew 8,000.
Yeah, so it makes you also wonder, San Diego the marketplace isn't gigantic. And you already have a lot of teams, and teams are getting a lot of support, and other teams aren't getting enough support. So it just makes you wonder if we split the pie too narrowly, if it's going to harm all of the sports.
No, because I think Soccer Fan supporting the Wave and obviously SDFC. Soccer Fan's an entity unto itself. But I think this is such a transplant community melting pot. I think there's enough hockey fans. And probably have now the prices for the American Hockey League are much more reasonable than what would be all things NHL. But,
Yeah, that's true.
But this is a melting pot community, so I think it's supported. But we don't have an arena, so
No.
okay, we move on.
Good
Good question, Greg. Thank you.
Okay, let's go here to HB949 Sports. Hey, from beyond left field, the salary cap idea. All 30 MLB teams are in the playoffs, 130-game season. Playoffs start on Labor Day. AL and NL number one teams get a first-round bye.
I buy a chunk of that theory, but you would never get the union to agree to decrease the schedule from 162 down to 130, because the owners would say, you're only playing 130? We're going to give you a different cut of the pie than the 162. Now, I could see it make it more rational, go from 162 down to 154, and start the season maybe a week earlier, get the playoffs in sooner than the end of November or November 1st from a weather standpoint. The recovery time, the injury factor has to be a piece of this equation. I mean, the fatality rate of pitchers, John, is just, it's staggering how many guys are having forearm and elbow surgeries. You know, I kept track of this last year. I think there were 51 pitchers who had Tommy John surgeries. I think this year was 58. But that means those are marquee guys gone for 14 months or a year and a half, and with no knowledge that they can be the pitcher they were before they got hurt. You can go back out to the mound, but that does not guarantee you're going to be the same guy. You know, Joe Musgrove has done everything humanly possible to be ready for spring training. We don't know if he'll be the pitcher he was.
Yeah, all sports are kind of going through this, right? They keep expanding the calendar, the number of games.
Revenue.
For revenue. And the players are getting paid handsomely.
Salaries.
You know? So now there's movement maybe to reduce the NBA schedule. I've heard talk about that. You know, of course, football. But now the part of the deal is when you have like these huge seasons, there's going to be a ton of injuries. So it just kind of goes part and parcel. But yeah, there is a lot of roadkill, you know, just a lot of injuries that occur. This is an interesting idea. I mean, I don't really have a problem with the baseball season being long as a fan, because I just like the everyday
regimentation.
Yeah, it's almost like watching a soap opera every day, you know?
Yeah, but the fatality count is unbelievable. And it's like you just mentioned the NFL. They are going to push for an 18-game schedule. And you look at the number of guys on injured reserve in the NFL, the Achilles injuries, the quarterbacks that are going down on a week-by-week basis. We've had this year, the season's not over, we've had more than half the quarterbacks suffer major injuries this year in the NFL.
So those are gladiator games, man.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. So, I don't know. It's just, you know, it's just the spectacle of all this entertainment and all this glitz and
the dollars.
And the dollars and the injuries. I mean, it's just all part of the drama.
Okay. Good comment, though. Thanks for joining us on the 949.
Okay, let's go to Callan. He goes, afternoon, gents. It's getting tougher and tougher to back the college football playoff format when it comes to how teams are picked. I will die on the hill that there will never be a perfect college football playoff.
Well, you know, we had 4, and everybody was bitching about who got left out, and then it went to 8, and there were still a lot of confrontations, and now it went to 12, and look at the anger in Texas and in South Bend. There is no perfect formula, but you need football people helping make the decisions, a.k.a. Nick Saban and other retired coaches, rather than conference commissioners who are only taking care of their backyard in the SEC or in the Big Ten. I mean, the health, John, the health of the sport is the strength of each of these conferences, not screwing the ACC or the Big 12. I just found out this morning, I was under the assumption that the new Pac-12 next year would be automatic. No. The new Pac-12 is not viewed. I just found out this morning, and Sean Lewis didn't know. The new Pac-12 will be like a group of 5. Or would then be a group of 6.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. Yeah. I was curious. Sean Lewis must have known.
No, because I asked him last week. I said, "Are you sure about this?" He says, "Yes." I read overnight, no, because they're changing the system again for 2026.
So the Pac-12 will not be a guaranteed bid.
That's right.
In the college football playoff.
It'll be ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and who am I missing? The other one. SEC.
SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC.
That's it. 4.
Those are the 4. You know, it's weird. It's like college football is like one of those sports where the division winners don't necessarily make the playoffs, you know, which we see that in every other sport. Even in college basketball, the division winners always make the playoffs.
Well, here's Duke winning the ACC championship game, but had 5 losses because they were not in the upper echelon in the rankings. And this is a new piece of the CFL formula. Is you got to be ranked. Well, they got 5 losses. They're not ranked.
If these guys are all a bunch of money grubbers, I mean, they would want a 16 or a 32 team bracket, you know, and there's more opportunities to cash in.
That might be another argument for another day.
So why don't they just do that? And then we wouldn't be arguing over who's in and who's out. And yeah, Callan's right. It's never going to be perfect. But the more that you expand the playoff format, then I think you satisfy everybody's desire. You get the top teams are in. The teams that were borderline that you love, they get in, and the little guys get in. And by the way, there's a lot of people are still bitching and moaning, like, why in the hell is Tulane and, you know, James Madison in this thing?
That's what I wrote this morning in my column.
Why are they in there? And, you know, we need to have Miami or we need to have Texas. And I'm like, no, man, it's just having those little guys makes it cool. That's the good part of it. And it's, you know, the people that bitch and moan about are the guys that are SEC fans or Big Ten fans. They think the whole world revolves around their conference.
Isn't the first year we started this podcast, was not the year SMU got in and they got beat 61-7?
No, that was TCU.
TCU or SMU?
Well, no, it was Georgia. That was part of my receipts that I brought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the 2023 National Championship, Georgia 65, TCU 7.
Okay.
That was Jalen Carter back when he was playing college ball.
Okay, so that's the end result of what's going to happen at Autzen Stadium. I said 69-3 over James Madison.
Well, you did say you worried about the Aztecs losing by 40 to Michigan, and you know, a couple of weeks ago, and they lost by exactly 40.
And who are they going to play in a couple weeks?
Oh, Arizona.
Number one ranked Arizona. It just came out.
Yeah, well, they got some work to do. But anyways, when these brackets go on, I'm going to make a wager with you because for the Tulane and James Madison, we're going to have to find some sort of a point spread differential to see if it's like if it's above or below what the number would be.
Well, close by, Outback Steakhouse. You will be buying me filet mignon with onions.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to figure out when they post the bracket, we'll figure out what the score spread will be, and you'll probably have the over, and I'll have the under.
And you want to take some of our viewers with us? It'll be on your plastic, won't be on mine.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Have a blooming onion together. Okay, let's go here to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw, do you think my Dodgers trade Theo Hernandez? I would not trade him.
Well, they got 2 years left on the contract. He structured the contract. It's got deferred money, so it's affordable if somebody else wants a designated hitter. I keep hearing Seattle again. Of course, he used to be in Seattle. But they're going to have some people to replace the people that they move off the roster. And suddenly, as I told John in our baseball segment, what I keep hearing is that the Dodgers might be backing away from the mega contract. Evidently, they're not as keen on Bichette now after they did research as they were on Bichette a month ago. So that may be by the boards. Evidently, they're not in the Kyle Tucker thing at all because they don't want to give somebody 10 years, $400 million. So maybe they'll do something different. And moving Teoscar could be part of it. I don't know what they'd get for Teoscar except to get out from underneath the contract and the deferred money. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, things started this morning. It goes through Thursday. The Rule 5 draft is on Wednesday night, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, there are rumors everywhere. Read my website first thing every morning because we'll have all the latest headlines that I can gather. I loaded the baseball page today with a ton of rumors. So just go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Check it every morning because it's there. It's absolutely free. If you are really smart, are you smart? If you are really smart, you join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. And then you get the personal newsletters that John and I send out. We send out 2 newsletters a day. And you can just register, go right on my website, the orange box, fill it out, get on the email list. You get 2 newsletters starting tomorrow. That's the easiest way to stay on top of everything that's going on in sports.
Yeah, it's funny because we do those 2 a day. And they're really good content. But sometimes I wonder, man, 2 emails a day, who does that? That's like almost like overwhelming the insiders group, but it's a lot of good content.
I don't know. Is anybody bitching? I don't hear any bitching.
No, people, yeah. Well, the subscriber count, it kind of goes up and it'll kind of come down a little bit as we go, but it's all good. I wanted to ask you a question about the Dodgers organization, because you're talking about how they have all this depth. They've got these star players that are at the AA level. I'm sure they got great prospects at the single A level. For most teams, you would think that those young guys would get a chance to move up, or you would package those young guys to flip them to get another star in a trade. But in all these cases, the Dodgers have so many stars at the major league level, there's like nowhere to go.
It's interesting. I mean, you and I have been doing this for 3 years. And what's the one phrase I always make about the Dodgers at the trade deadline or coming out of the winter meetings is, they got this guy, and they didn't give up any of their blue chips. They still got all their blue chips.
Right.
All their pitchers at Oklahoma City, and they got 3 really hot prospects at AA, and they won the World Series, and they didn't give anybody up. And they always operate that way.
Well, and that's a great way to run an organization, but it sucks if you're that player that's, MVP of, AA, and you can't get a cup of coffee at the major league level.
You have to prove yourself, and I'll give you a prime example. James Outman was on a fast track to be a center fielder at Dodger Stadium. And, he progressed through the minor leagues, boom, 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 successful, productivity, got to Dodger Stadium, didn't play well, didn't hit. And they kept bringing him up, cup of coffee, till he was out of options. You get 3 options. And then they have to make a decision. Well, they decided to move him. Where'd they send him? Cubs, maybe? So the Dodgers slow pace the development, but they got the kid Hope in the outfield. They got another kid DePaul in the outfield, and they just got a ton of pitchers. Now, some of those pitchers have all broken down and had surgeries, but they still retain their rights until their options run out, and then they can either bring them up, hope they succeed, or move them like Dustin May finally got moved.
Well, they had a turnstile going there at the Southwest Airlines, with Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
A lot of flights.
And a lot of flights back and forth. And they worked it just right, where they had 10 to 12 pitchers that were cycling through those 5 starting spots.
But they changed the baseball rule a year ago. You can only call a guy up 5 times in a given year. They were 2 or 3 years ago. They were doing every week. They were sending same guys back to Oak City to get them off the roster and then bringing them back up. But so you only have 3 years of options, and you can only send John Riley to Oklahoma City 5 times in a calendar year.
So what is an option? It's not simply being sent down to AAA. It's something else, right?
No. You're off the major league roster, the 25-man roster.
Okay.
But if you're still a talent, you're on the 40-man overall roster, but you option back to Oak City.
Oh, so you're on the 40-man, but you're in Oak City.
As a AAA player.
Okay.
But you can only be brought up and sent back 5 times.
Interesting.
It's complicated.
It is complicated. Okay, and Casey had another comment. I want to get it in because it involves the Rams. We haven't talked much about the Rams. He goes, also, my Rams had a nice bounce-back win yesterday, and with 4 games to go, how do you see them finishing?
Upbeat. I was stunned they got beaten Carolina, but it was lousy weather, and Matthew Stafford had the weird bad game. He had 2 picks and a fumble along the way, but boy, they bounced. Did they smoke Arizona yesterday? And the fans, so many empty seats in Arizona. That looks like there's something bad's going to happen to the Arizona Cardinals, maybe to the coach, maybe to the quarterback, that there's some changes coming. It's just not a very well-run team right now, and they've lost so many close games. Part of my left hand says Jonathan Gannon, as coach, has coached them right to this point. They've lost 7 games by a touchdown or less, but yet those are losses. The other thing is they got Kyler Murray, and he's under a big contract, a big cap figure, and he can't stay on the field. He's always hurt. So the rumors are they might get rid of him, but how can you get rid of him and take a massive cap hit? And this is supposed to be your quarterback of the future. So they got some problems there in Arizona right now.
Do you think Kyler Murray is just too small? Because he looks like a little itty-bitty guy out there when he plays.
He's a great athlete, but he moves the pocket and he runs too much, and you're going to get whacked.
Yeah, interesting. I saw some people commenting on X about how there was just an exodus in the fourth quarter, people exiting the stadium. Cardinal fan, that's a rough go. They had that one Super Bowl appearance. I don't know, it was like 10 years ago.
The Larry Fitzgerald team was pretty good, but it was there for a short period, and injuries and age. And
was Kurt Warner the quarterback on that team?
Oh man,
who was it? I don't know.
Now Warner was with the Rams.
No, but he did really well with the Cardinals, I think, for a little bit. But the Rams, what a miraculous season these guys are having. And that one blemish against the Panthers kind of caught everyone off guard. Like, what the hell was that?
But they're sitting there at 10-3. They're a real deal.
Yeah, I mean, but it was interesting on Sunday when they were showing the projected, the seedings if the season were to end today, and before the Bears-Packers game, the Bears were the number 1 seed. And I was like, oh my God, why? I'm surprised it wasn't the Rams, probably because they lost to Carolina.
Right.
The Bears got it handed to them.
Yeah, Jordan Love wouldn't let Green Bay lose, and he's played really well considering all of his wideouts have been hurt, and he hasn't had much of a running game, and yet he's just stacking, for the most part, wins upon wins. We still got 4 more weeks after this weekend.
Caleb Williams did have an open receiver in the intermediate area. He didn't need to make that desperation throw into the end zone.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams is coming around him, and that coach, what's his name again? Is it
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. Why do I want to say Ben McCoy? Now, Ben Johnson is hella good. I mean, some of the schemes that he was running were very innovative.
They got 3 deep at wide receiver, and they're really deep at wide receiver. I'm sorry, 3 deep at running back, and very deep at wide receiver, though Dunzier, who's their leading receiver, is hurt right now. But they got 3 wideouts that are averaging 13 or more per yards per catch. That's explosive. And Caleb's quit turning it over and has quit doing freelance football. I mean, Shadur Sanders right now is what Caleb Williams was last year. You can't run around and try to create on the fly. You take too many sacks and you're going to get hurt. But Caleb has really refined his game. Ben Johnson's done a good job with him. Okay, let's move a couple more here.
Okay, let's go here. Talk about Jeff Kent. This is from E-Open. Jeff Kent has better statistics than Ryan Sandberg across the board. Jeff Kent is a deserving Hall of Famer.
I think he's rock solid. And he hit 377. I mean, home runs. That's, for a second baseman, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's come close to it.
But yeah, usually the second basemen are like the scrappy little guy.
Yeah, the 270, and maybe if I hit 19 home runs, it was a good season. If I put a good Gold Glove.
And maybe if they're a good contact guy, you might bat him second. The guy that was athletic, but maybe not big enough to be a shortstop. It's funny how there's the stereotypes for every position on the field.
Of course, he was with Barry Bonds, and we know what Barry Bonds was all about. So therefore, you got to look at a different style of pitching.
Kent played a little third, I think, didn't he? And so with the Giants, and you say the Indians?
Texas. I think he was with 4 clubs, maybe 5.
Was he with the Mets?
At the end.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I just remember him. He always had that kind of funky mustache, Jeff Kent. I just remember also being real prickly.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was like Kevin Brown. But, I mean, I interviewed both of them, but didn't make it necessarily easy. Just you hit him on a right day, he'd sit there and do a group interview, and it was okay. And sometimes he'd talk down to you, and sometimes he'd talk okay to you.
But see, like there are other players that have more home runs.
Not second baseman.
But yeah, that's the thing is like, why do we give like a player? I'm just going to pick a name out of the air. Like,
why him rather than Dale Murphy?
Yeah, or David Justice is another name that I always think of because he's a local guy here in San Diego. He was really good, but not quite Hall of Fame good. But I've always thought Kent was the same way. And if I looked up the numbers, I'll bet you David Justice has better numbers across the board than Jeff Kent did.
You got the iPhone, smart guy. You go ahead and look that up. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
Listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Absolute ton of topics on the table. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Share. Tell everybody in your address book what we're doing on this podcast. Hacksaw is back. Subscribe. Then you'll get the alerts every time we put something new up on the YouTube channel. Want you to become part of my insiders group. Go to my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Read what I write, my one man's opinion column, my best 15 minutes in sports every day. Fill out the entry blank. Become part of the insiders group. You'll get the newsletters. We put out 2 of them every day. I think you'll find those really impressive. You're on social media. Follow me at Hacksaw1090 or just type in Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps us a great deal. Is it kickoff yet for Monday Night Football? Damn, I can't wait to see this, but I hope it doesn't go bad for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, his hand is like sitting out there like, easy pickings for some of these defenders.
He's such a warrior. He's such a tough hombre as a quarterback. So we'll find out. Chargers, Eagles, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. No, Justin Herbert, Vic Fangio. That's going to be the chess game between the X's and O's, that coordinator versus that quarterback. It's going to be fun. And we'll see if this is the beginning of a 5-game gauntlet, is your favorite word. This gauntlet's going to be a bitch for them to get through, especially with the quarterback hurt.
A bitch of a gauntlet, starting with the Eagles.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, this podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Great Christmas gift ideas, including the Christmas cards. Go to Dixieline.com, see all the things that they have to offer. John, enjoy Thursday Night Football. Make sure you check my website tomorrow morning for all the latest from the winter baseball meetings. We'll continue to track this and cover it. And we'll see you Thursday at 1:30.
Thursday.
And we'll see you Thursday at 1:30. Thanks for joining us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.